One of the biggest events in gaming has to be a new Smash Bros. Character reveal. The most recent title in the Smash Bros. Series, Ultimate, had numerous newcomers introduced to the roster. Some of my personal favorites include Pyra and Mithra from Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Joker from Persona 5, and Banjo and Kazooie from, well, Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh my fucking god! Daddy Sakurai! Oh my fucking god! There's no way! Did he really do it? There's no fucking way! They did not! They did not! Oh my god! No, is this really happening? Is this the timeline that we're in? Is this legit, my boy? How did he implement him? Oh my god! I can't believe I'm seeing this! Oh my fucking god! The boy is back! Samus, it's time! Oh my fucking god! Oh my fucking god!
Super Smash Bros. Brawl was the first entry in the series to introduce third-party characters into the mix, with the only two characters at the time being Sonic the Hedgehog and Solid Snake. People lost their minds when these two characters were thrown into the fighting arena, duking it out with Nintendo characters. It was something deemed impossible, and even if it was possible, it wouldn't happen in this lifetime. This pretty much set a new precedent going forward with the games to follow. Brawl was also the first game in the series with an online component to it, though the less we talk about that, the better. Brawl's online, just needless to say, was trash if we're being completely honest. I know Ultimate's online isn't great either, but if you engaged in any online battles with Brawl, it was a lot more rough back then. You'd think you were playing under McDonald's Wi-Fi. That's how brutal it was. Don't get me started on the stage builder. I had tons of fun with this, creating stages back in the day with my brother and cousin. After building a stage, we'd wait for sudden death. While you're in sudden death, you know, your health percentage goes up to 300 and it becomes a lot easier to get knocked out of the stage. Though with how we built these stages, we couldn't get knocked off. Along with us trying to kill each other, you'd have bombs drop in left and right out of nowhere, creating mayhem. Those honestly were probably my favorite memories with Brawl. Speaking of first time evers, lastly, Brawl was the first game in the series to introduce a story mode to the series with the Subspace Emissary. I have very fond memories of the Subspace Emissary. I probably played through this game mode a good dozen times. Just a quick synopsis of the story mode here before we move on. This is Taboo. Taboo is bad guy, Smash characters good guys. Taboo manages to capture Master Hand with the Chains of Light. For those of you who don't know, Master Hand is basically the god of this world. Taboo recruits Wario, Bowser, and Ganondorf, using Master Hand as a puppet for a cover-up. These guys are obviously oblivious to this, thinking it's Master Hand all along, calling the shots. Taboo's goal is to basically subjugate the world of trophies by bringing areas of it into his home dimension and create a new orderly world out of them. However, Taboo cannot leave the subspace, so that's the reason he has to use Wario, Bowser, and Ganondorf. In the opening scene, Mario and Kirby are in the middle of a battle as Peach, Zelda, and a full crowd in the stadium watch on. Shit hits the fan, and then of course Kirby plays as the main protagonist, and from there you have to rescue and team up with everybody on the roster, ultimately leading to a final fight with Taboo himself. The gameplay side of the Subspace Emissary has its normal Smash battles we've all come to know and love since the inception of the series. It also has enemies and boss battles outside of the roster of playable characters where you simply have to bring their HP down. My favorite being the fight against Rayquaza, since I'm a big Pokemon junkie and Rayquaza is possibly the coolest Pokemon ever created. It also has 2D platforming / side scroller sections which are pretty fun themselves. Other modes include Tourney mode, Classic mode, All-Star mode, Event match, Home Run contest, Target Smash, Multi-Man Brawl, Boss Battles mode, and Training mode for those Smash Bros. Sweaty players out there. All of these modes are cool when you want to get out of traditional battles. They all have their own identity to help spice up the overall game further from the traditional model. Tourney mode is great in case you ever want to hold a local tournament. The limit of players goes all the way up to 32 players. Tournaments are always a fun way to see who is better between your friends and family. You may even max it out to the 32 player limit, get some people to sign up to play for a local event, and see who ranks at the top in your local community. Just whatever you do, don't let Nintendo find out you're holding a tournament. They're party poopers when it comes to this side of the Smash Bros community for whatever reason. I get their whole thing is to protect their IPs, but they take it a little bit too far sometimes. Classic mode returns from the previous 2 installments, and it's just as enjoyable here as it was before. You get a set number of stocks, go through 12 stages with some bonus target smash stages. Best part about classic mode is that each character has its own unique set of opponents, stages, and gimmick battles. Smash 64 had one player game mode, which was basically classic mode. Melee then remodeled that game mode into classic mode. I know in Melee the selection of characters was randomized, not sure if that is the case in 64, however when implemented into Brawl, each character had their predetermined opponents lined up, no longer were they randomized. Best part for me is completing classic mode with all of the characters and being rewarded with their trophies. Here we have All-Star mode. This mode unlocks once you have acquired all of the characters in the game. This is kind of like classic mode, the major difference being that with this one you have to battle all of the characters in the game in a specific order. And of course because of this it'll be a lot more time consuming. The other major difference about this mode though compared to classic is that you also get a trophy featuring the character you completed your run with, but they're performing their final smash, and in my opinion this is well worth the effort, especially if you like collecting as many of the trophies in the game that you possibly can, like me. Next up is Event Match mode. This mode definitely tests your skills. You'll be thrown into a series of challenges with unique conditions and objectives. You can play these solo and co-op. There is a total of 40 solo events and 21 co-op events. Some of the conditions on these events are very specific and will probably make you rage quit, but I still find them fun nonetheless. Home Run Contest is a classic. If you're a Smash Bros fan, there is no way you're going to tell me that you hate this game mode. You simply hit the cute sandbag to increase its damage percentage the most you can, grab the bat, lock in, and see how far you can hit it. I always enjoyed trying to break my previous record with different characters. The Home Run Contest is just as fun as it was then, even in Ultimate. This game mode feels like home, and I don't see Nintendo or Masahiro Sakurai ever getting rid of it. Target Smash, we mentioned it earlier with Classic mode, but it is as it sounds. There's targets placed around the stage, and your goal is to smash the targets as fast as you can for the best possible time. Same as Classic mode and the Home Run Contest, this one is a staple of the series and I love it. Here we get into a game mode I'm not the biggest fan of, and it's the multi-man mode. It's fine for a game mode, but it does nothing for me. I don't even know what these guys are supposed to be or who they really are. You can unlock some characters through this, but if I'm not mistaken, you can unlock everybody through normal gameplay or other game modes. There's really nothing rewarding about it. I'm not really a fan here. It's whatever. Boss battle mode is just like All-Star mode, though instead of fighting all of the other playable characters, you have to face off against all of the bosses from the Subspace Emissary. You do receive certain trophies here, but they're not as cool as All-Stars with the characters in their final smashes. This mode though gets a thumbs up from me. Training mode is for all of you sweaty players out there. Self-explanatory, you want to test out characters, the way they move, how floaty they are, how fast they are, their combos, fighting style. This is the place to do it, to really know who your main is and run with them to slay anybody in your path. Let's briefly talk about the characters here. While there were many newcomers such as Zero Suit Samus, Lucario, and Sonic, Brawl also removed some characters from the previous game. Those characters removed being Roy, Mewtwo, Dr. Mario, Young Link, and Pichu. Not sure the reasoning behind this. I could see them removing Dr. Mario just because he is very similar to Mario and Luigi. Pichu was basically a gimmick character and not really necessary when you have Pikachu. Young Link, well, he's just Link, and you could even say he was swapped out by Toon Link. As for Roy, I took his place, and I can see the comparisons between Mewtwo and Lucario. Other notable newcomers I'd like to mention that I really like are Meta Knight, Rob, and Pokemon Trainer. Overall, this roster is fantastic, and it may not be better than Smash 4 or Smash Ultimate, just given the fact that each new game the roster expands more and more than its predecessor, but I still quite like it. I previously mentioned Final Smashes, but this is also something new to the series that Nintendo ran with for future games after Brawl. The concept is simple. A Smash Ball spawns into the arena. Your objective is to break the Smash Ball. After doing so, you'll have this aura around you and press B, or if you're playing on a Wiimote, you press 1, and your character will perform a special custom move. These are cool. It's another way to give these characters more identity and mostly feature other aspects from their respective series. Brawl also introduced this thing called Masterpieces, essentially a treasure trove of game demos from Nintendo classics such as Star Fox 64, Ocarina of Time, and Super Metroid. I remember playing some of these back in the day. I had never played Ocarina of Time before, and this was the closest way for me to experience it. I know they were featured on the virtual shop, but my parents did not believe in the internet back then, and they sure as hell weren't going to buy me Wii Shop points for me to buy any games either. It'd be like pulling teeth to get them to buy me anything gaming related. I do see the purpose of this little section in the game though, being that this was their first console with online components along with the Nintendo DS. They would dive into the virtual market of selling video games, and this just works as a way to promote some of the games they had up in the shop, which is a very smart move on their part. The main collectible of this game are trophies, which is by far and many others' favorite collectible in the game. They also have stickers, but who cares about those? I certainly don't. There's challenges where you'll have to do certain things, such as using Donkey Kong 20 times or hit 900 feet in the home run contest, just to give you a few examples. They sort of work like events where you have to meet certain requirements. By far though, my favorite feature in the entire game is the coin launcher minigame. My goodness, I cannot tell you how much time I spent here grinding it out with all the coins I've acquired through Subspace Emissary, Classic Mode, All-Star Mode, Boss Battles. This, 10 out of 10. This right here was my bread and butter. One aspect I'm not really a fan of regarding this game are the visuals. As I mentioned in my GTA 4 video, devs at this time were trying to go for a more realistic and serious aesthetic. It just doesn't work for Nintendo characters. It doesn't. Another thing of note that I did not like was the occasional slips that the characters will have when moving around. This was just unnecessary and frustrating, especially for competitive players. It literally serves no purpose other than to just annoy you. Super Smash Bros. Brawl by many is considered the black sheep of the series. Some consider it to be the worst Smash game, but I'd have to disagree. It introduced a lot to the series, and it still holds up really well 16 years later. While I may be biased due to all the good memories I have, and this being the game in the series I spent the most time on, it will forever be my favorite Super Smash Bros. Game.